Nog, played by Aaron Eisenberg across all 7 seasons of Deep Space Nine, is easily one of the most important supporting characters in the Star Trek franchise. He appears in the first and final episodes of DS9, has been honoured in Discovery and Star Trek Online, and won the hearts of audiences early on. Eisenberg played the role with earnest mischief in the beginning before developing Nog into a nuanced, passionate character who would ultimately serve as the true heart of the Dominion War and its effect on the young. Eisenberg passed away in 2019, though he was remembered by the franchise. Star Trek Discovery featured the USS Nog, which was an Eisenberg-class ship. Star Trek Online hosted a vigil where players could come together and remember the man who brought this honest Ferengi to life. Before diving into the details on Nog, thanks very much to Clive Burrell for his invaluable input on this video as well. Now, when reading on, take everything you hear with a pinch of salt, as the 190th rule of acquisition states, hear all, trust nothing. I'm Sean Ferrick for TrekCulture, and here are 10 things you didn't know about Nog. Number 10. His mother almost appeared on screen. Nog's mother was Prinadora, who was only ever spoken about and never seen on screen. In Nog's backstory, she left the family when he was still a baby, but only after her father managed to swindle Rom out of his money. Love really is overrated on Ferengi. However, an unfilmed plot for the 6th season episode Change of Heart would have seen her arrive on Deep Space Nine trying to win Rom back. Though the episode would go on to focus on Worf and Dax, this plot did find life at the conventions. Lolita Faccio, who had previously been a pre-production associate on the final 2 seasons of The Next Generation, and was once engaged to Max Grodenchik, performed, alongside Grodenchik, Aaron Eisenberg and Chase Masterson, the Ferengi Family Hour, where she played Prinadora. This includes the scene from Change of Heart, so, in a way, she is the closest thing to Nog's birth mother that the audience has seen to date. Number 9. Literary inspirations. The 7th season episode, Treachery, Faith and the Great River, is a standout story for Nog, drawing inspiration from Joseph Heller's Catch-22. Though Nog's story is the B-plot of the episode, its comedic tone draws from a satire of the American dream. Nog's plot is inspired by Milo Minderbinder, an extreme idol of capitalism in Heller's novel. Nog uses a complicated system of bartering in an attempt to get O'Brien the parts he needs, though he loses Martok's blood wine and Sisko's desk along the way. In Catch-22, Minderbinder uses a similar system of bartering and sales to, at least initially, improve food conditions in the officers' mess. His scheme to source higher quality eggs lands him in front of a tribunal, by which point his assets had grown to rival that of the US government. Nog's version of this story is played for straight laughs, though it is perhaps the closest he has ever been to becoming a true Ferengi businessman. Number 8. He is forever a part of a certain character's legacy. Nog had many achievements during Deep Space Nine's run, not least of which entering Starfleet Academy, rising through the ranks, and even, according to one timeline at least, commanding his own ship. However, his historical moments begin with the introduction of a certain bucket. In The Storyteller, Nog is the first person seen holding the bucket, in which Odo regenerates every night, using it as part of a prank on Jake Sisko and Varys Sul. They attempt to steal it as a gag, though Nog ups the ante by filling it with oatmeal and spilling Odo all over Jake. Their laughter echoes through the security office until the real Odo appears. This bucket has appeared in Star Trek many times, including most recently in Star Trek Picard's 3rd season, but its legacy began with a certain little Ferengi and his mischievous laugh in Deep Space Nine's 1st season. Number 7. Take a seat. Nog's relationship with Jake Sisko mirrored Aaron Eisenberg's relationship with Cirroc Lofton. Though a few years his senior, Eisenberg quickly grew close to his on-screen best friend. They would go on, years after Deep Space Nine came to a close, to co-found the 7th Rule podcast. In his early days on the show, Eisenberg would often ask Lofton to give him feedback on his performance. The pair joked on an episode of the podcast that Eisenberg would practice his Ferengi voice, and then check to see if Lofton believed he was doing it right. "I can only compare you to yourself," Lofton quipped in return, as in his words, he did not have his PhD in Ferengi performance at the time in history. The pair filmed a scene for Emissary where their characters met, though it was cut and moved into the next episode, A Man Alone. Thus, Jake and Nog's friendship began. Number 6. He of many ranks. Across the seasons of Deep Space Nine, Nog just misses out on a record held by Geordi LaForge. The chief engineer of the Enterprise D held 6 ranks on screen across the franchise, starting as a junior grade lieutenant in Season 1 of The Next Generation, before making full lieutenant in Season 2. By Season 3 he had been stepped up to Lieutenant Commander, which he would retain to all good things. During The Next Generation he would also be seen as an ensign in the flashbacks for Identity Crisis, and as a commander in Riker's Future Imperfect. In the alternative timeline of Voyager's Timeless, LaForge was captain of the USS Challenger, and in Picard, he'd stepped up to Commodore. Nog's career opens up as a cadet, with him promoted to ensign and ultimately lieutenant junior grade by the end of What You Leave Behind. This is then topped up with the temporary promotion to lieutenant commander aboard the USS Valiant, and as a commander and a captain in Jake's Future from The Visitor. That totals 6, thus just dropping in at second to LaForge. However, he is the character who is seen with the most ranks within one series, since LaForge does this across 3. He does, however, have a ship named after him in the 32nd century, so we'll call this one a draw. Number 5. From the Start. Nog was written into the earliest drafts of Emissary, though as the rewriting process began, his part was expanded. This was thanks to Michael Piller, who saw Nog as an opportunity to lock Quark into remaining on the station. Nog is first seen stealing supplies on behalf of his uncle before being swiftly arrested by Odo. This leads to the confrontation in the security office, wherein Sisko bribes Quark to remain in exchange for Nog's freedom. As all of this was added in rewrites, Nog's arrest paved the road for his time on the station, which in turn led to his entrance to Starfleet Academy. He also serves as one of the earliest examples of Deep Space Nine's writers understanding the value of supporting characters. Had there been a simpler way to keep Quark in place, the audience may never have seen the young Ferengi don that Starfleet uniform. Number 4. Eisenberg's Other Treks. This entry is less about Nog than Eisenberg himself. While he was still a recurring star on Deep Space Nine, Eisenberg auditioned for and won the role of Kar in the Voyager episode Initiations. Eisenberg quickly set the record straight whenever anyone assumed he was simply given the part. Executive producer Jerry Taylor confirmed this, as she recalled the struggle of finding an actor to play the 14-year-old Kar. The younger actors that came in couldn't carry the depth that the role required, while they were faced with the issue of finding an older actor who could look the part. Eisenberg was brought in to audition, rather than being offered the part outright. However, he did recall receiving a lot of instruction from Max Grodenchik, instruction the latter recalled Eisenberg used none of. Though Kar was quite different from Nog, Eisenberg thoroughly enjoyed his time on Voyager, feeling it was a blessing to appear in 2 Star Trek shows that were running concurrently. Number 3. The Plan After 9. The documentary What We Left Behind featured a section wherein the former writers of Deep Space Nine met to break a story for a hypothetical 8th season. There was always an issue in finding a reason to bring a disparate band of characters back together again after such a long time, so it was Nog who would signal the return. In the session, the writers decided that Nog, then captain of the Defiant, could send a message to his former friends and colleagues, imploring them to return to Deep Space Nine. Though they would gather in their dribs and drabs, they would all be present to see him die. To Eisenberg's dismay, Nog was to be the sacrificial lamb that inspires the 8th season to explore what has truly happened to the Quadrant. Though this season opener would have ended with Sisko returning, what's to say he couldn't nip back in time and pick up Nog while he was at it? Number 2. Strong Relations. Heart of Stone represented a turning point for Nog's character arc. He had been a bumbling adolescent, and the time had come to do something with him. While Jake Sisko was moving away from interest in joining Starfleet Academy, Nog took his place in that storyline. For the scenes between Nog and Commander Sisko, Eisenberg felt that Avery Brooks pushed him to get the best performance possible, something he was extremely grateful for, as he considered his acting in that scene to be the best that he delivered as Nog. The moment that Sisko grabs Nog's shoulders was, according to Eisenberg, improvised by Brooks. This, as shocking as it was, pushed him to blurt out, "I don't want to end up like my father," as a response to Sisko's question. From there, the scene plays out as earnest and as honest as any he ever appeared in. Number 1. Named from the Start. While the Mandela effect may have some fans thinking that the Ferengi thief and emissary was unnamed, Quark's nephew was always called Nog from the very beginning. It was a man alone when Eisenberg's name would move from the end credits to the opening guest stars, and then it was A Time to Stand when he would be credited on screen ... as Nog. Eisenberg recalled basing much of his early appearances on the Ferengi from The Last Outpost. He and Armin Zimmerman hissed at each other in their shared scene in Emissary, a far cry from the profoundly moving performance in It's Only a Paper Moon. Nog, named from the beginning even if his arc hadn't been clear, earned his spot as the guest character with the greatest overall journey in Star Trek. This is a credit to the writing, but most importantly to the performance of the man who brought him to life. Though Aaron Eisenberg is dearly missed, his presence is felt in Trek to this day. Thank you very much everyone for watching along. We hope that you enjoyed that, and thank you very much. If you want to check out the article, it's over on whatculture.com as well. Please make sure that you're liking, sharing and subscribing. It makes a massive difference when you do. Please make sure that you are following us on the various socials. We are at TrekCulture and I am at Sean Ferrick. Until I see you again, make sure that you live long and prosper, and remember, a wise man can hear profit in the wind. Thanks very much.